So welcome back to Two Guys in the Outdoors, and Bob here. We have Jason.
Hello.
Then we have a couple of new people. We have Steve Rogers. You've seen him before, talking about trapping and stuff. And when we did a short at his shop, which you can see he's at his shop right now. And then we have a new person, Marvin Bailey, coming to you live from where'd you say you were camping at?
Myrtle Beach, North Carolina,
Myrtle
Ocean
Beach.
Lakes Family Campground.
Yeah, so he's taken some time out of his family vacation just to talk to y'all. So so tonight we're going to talk about uh, a mentored hunt that we just did. Okay. And Marvin and Steve was part of that hunt. And Marvin was actually the mentee. Steve was the mentor. And Jason and I was just there. No, it was a good hunting trip from our point of view, but we want to hear what they had to say because they actually had a very good hunting trip, in my opinion. So Marvin, why don't you tell us a little bit about
Y'all in a big hurry.
why you got started turkey hunting?
Okay. So I've always,
Really?
since I was younger,
Winchester.
squirrel hunt, deer hunt, but never really turkey hunt. So I wish I'd have learned about this a long time ago, but I seen this virtual field class that the DWR was providing. And I was like, well, hey, I want to check that out. And I really enjoyed the virtual class. And then, fortunately, I was selected to go on a mentor hunt. And for me, it was an excellent learning experience. Uh, Meeting with everybody in person and going down to the Featherfin uh, wildlife management area, and I enjoyed the socialist, the socialism we had, or we had that night and dinner, and going out shooting the shotgun just to make sure I could hit the paper, which I actually hit the paper better now. I didn't want to make no adjustments, because I knew I could hit the paper with it. I didn't want to make no adjustments. I made some adjustments afterwards, and I really hit it. I did take Jason's advice on that Nitro Ammunition Company, and I had them develop the ammo, the load for my 835, and they also suggested a joke. And the shot that I took, that I captured with pictures, it's really good. So, but the next day, me and Steve met. We went down. We didn't really have no time. We had to find where we were going. We weren't sure we were in the right spot. And then Steve confirmed with Jason that where we were was the right spot. But we didn't really get to scout that night because it was dark. And so that next morning, um, Steve and I went to the same spot where we needed to go. And really, it looked like a really nice. Now, Steve was the expert there, not me, but it looked like a really nice place where the fields were. And for me, I did have a decoy, in my truck, but I never have used it, never have used my blind, and I was kind of like, you know what, I don't want to add to, I didn't want to add anything to it. So Steve and I found a spot, Steve, and I thought it was a good spot, and so I have tried doing the mouth calling, but I still got a long way to go. And but Steve had his push pull box, and so he would call. So I think around 7 o'clock, maybe maybe earlier, but somewhere around there, he did call. And about every hour after that, somewhere around that time, Steve could be a little bit more precise, maybe. And I think it was around 9 o'clock, I believe. I might have the times wrong, but I feel like it was. And what was really exciting, I've never experienced this. He hit that call, and he only hit it for a few times, I don't know, 5 or 6 times. and we heard a gobbler, and I mean that gobbler went crazy. I mean it was just, I mean it would have been great. Am I still there?
Yeah, you're there.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay. I see me. That's all I see. Um, so I never heard a turkey do that, and it was so exciting. And but unfortunately, the turkey came up on my right side. Now Steve could see it. I never did see it until unfortunately it flew away. But he could see it, and so I moved just a little bit, trying to get to a point where if it did come into view for me, that I could take the shot. And I mean, I barely moved, I thought, but then that turkey flew off. And but it's very exciting. And what I can say, and I've told everybody that I've talked to about it, is at least now I feel like the experience that I got with Steve, and of course throughout the sessions that we have with the virtual learning, I feel I feel that I can successfully go hunting now for a spring gobbler. So I mean that's really the gist of it. I really enjoyed it, and seeing that turkey or hearing it was amazing to me. And Steve told me that if we'd had a decoy up, that turkey would have come right to it, and that would have been something to see too. But fortunately, I was a little shy about bringing a decoy, even though I had one, because I never had set them up.
So
That's kind of the way I experienced. I thought it was a great experience.
did your heart start pumping?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, it was.
I'm doing a video thing.
So yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Like I said, you see the videos, but to be there and live seeing it, yeah. And so Steve was a great mentor. I'll say that.
So Steve,
Uh,
go ahead.
but Marvin, I just want to say before we uh, get Steve involved here, and I know Bob feels the same way, and Steve feels the same way. That was our goal with this whole turkey series with the virtual classes is to walk new hunters or hunters that have never turkey hunted before, walk them through the steps, and it just warms our heart to hear you say that you feel confident enough to go out and try this and pursue this on your own, and and I'm glad that you got to experience that, and I know you learned a lesson. Those turkeys' eyesight is amazing. And when you said you thought you moved just a little bit, sometimes all you got to do is blink, buddy, and they've done picked you out. So thanks for sharing that.
No, I'm glad to.
Now I'll add another thing to it. I'm glad you pointed out the social aspect of it because one of the things that we tried to make sure we do with this virtual series and the mentored hunt is to get everybody the full effect of a hunt camp. Okay. Too bad it rained the night before. We couldn't get the fire going, but it getting out and hunting, getting out in the outdoors, just like we say in DWR, it's better together, right? But but yeah, I'm glad you brought up the social aspect. So Steve, what was your thoughts about the whole thing, looking at it from a mentor point of view?
Well, if we could have got in there the day before and scouted it, I could have seen the terrain a little bit better in the daylight instead of when we went in just as it was breaking daylight to set up. I didn't realize there was as much drop off out in the field that was out in the field, and if I knew he had a hen, we could have set a hen up to his left, and that gobbler would have come right up that holler right into that hen. He would have seen that hen, and he would have come right into it. And we were actually lucky after the episode of missing the gobbler that morning. We kind of sit there for about another half hour, and then we got up and went back to where we was parked, and we was gonna go get set up again, and I actually walked in on a hen on her nest and got to see the hen and the 10 little turkeys. So
That was another thing I just wanted to jump in there that was exciting too, because the hen just didn't even know we just act like we weren't even there. They probably knew we was there, but she's protecting those babies. And Steve got a bunch of pictures of that, which was cool too.
So Steve, you told us a story this past weekend about during that hunt that the the gobbler actually flew overhead.
Yeah. Yeah. When he come up, he was to our right. And when he flew up, he flew right over in front of the field and went down the lower end of the field into the woods. And when he went across, he had about a 4-inch beard. And he actually was a bronze turkey and not a black turkey.
Oh, neat. So Marvin, you actually got to see a gobbler, a hen, and
Little babies,
some babies.
sure did. I got pictures of the babies, and then I guess the hen too.
Babies are called
Folks.
Colts, yeah.
Okay. I'm learning my turkey
Well,
language.
Marvin got the full effect.
Yes, he did.
The full effect. Just Marvin, I tell people all the time, the more you hunt, it's the harvest is the icing on the cake, but just getting out, hearing a bird like you did, getting to see, even though you didn't get a shot, but getting to see the bird, and then getting to see that hen and the poults, and that's just, man, it just don't get much better than that. I'm just super excited that you and Steve got to experience that, because me and my group, we never heard a turkey one all morning. So y'all were very fortunate, but I think everybody had a good time at that hunt.
Yeah, me and my mentor, we walked for about 5 miles. Our pants were soaking wet. And we sat down, tried to call them in a few times, never heard anything all day, but it still was a good time. But I wanted to have you on here, Marvin, because I think, I mean, out of all of them, I think you were the most successful from what
And
you
I,
learned
you
and
know,
what you seen.
like Jason said, I mean, deer hunting. I've been deer hunting, and just seeing deer when you're out hunting, to me, it's exciting. Okay, and you know, some people may get to the point that they don't get excited, but I never got to that point yet. Uh, so being there, having the turkey come in, and I mean, just the way that turkey reacted when he did that hen call, and it was amazing, and it was loud. That was the other thing; it was loud, and I can't hear, so, but it was great. It really was, and I think the experience, just being out in the woods and being fortunate enough to have a turkey do what it did with, it was hot to try for that hen. And if Steve had been a hen, he'd have been in trouble. But still, but it was great. I really did enjoy it, and I would recommend that virtual class to anybody and everybody that I talk to that knows that I was doing that. I tell them about it, and I mean, just what I'm telling you is what I tell them. Same thing. I mean, and I do feel confident that I can at least go out and have a chance of success now. Before, I wouldn't have said that because I'd have been out there not knowing what I was doing at all. You know, so I feel like I've learned. Doesn't mean I'm going to run there and get a bunch of turkeys, but it does mean that I feel like I can go and maybe set up a decoy, maybe even use a blind, and I kind of know what to expect now. That's the other thing. If you've never went with someone or been and really experienced that, you don't know what to expect. Now that I've seen it and been part of it, I know what to expect. And that's really, I think, for me, the best experience of the whole thing.
I'm curious, Steve, Marvin, whoever knows this. Initially, how far away was that bird when you
When
first?
he hit that hen, Kyle, it was right on top of it. I mean, he
Oh,
hit it at the perfect time.
no, initially when the first time you heard it, how far away was it?
I'd say probably about 300 yards away.
Yeah, I think Steve would be better answering that question.
And then you just slowly called him in?
I called one time. After that, we sit there and he pinged us when he heard the call, and he come up this little holler into the field, and he went to the left, and he come up at the edge of the opposite side of the field where the crest kind of went down on a steep side, and he was slowly coming up, and he was looking, and I told him, I said, look, there he is at 1 o'clock, 30 yards. I could see his head, but he couldn't see him. He was a little bit lower in front of me, and I was in behind him, and I was up a little bit higher, and I could see the head of the turkey, and he couldn't see him. And I told him, I said, he's going to work his way on up, and he's going to circle and come back down the edge of those woods. And I told him when he was starting to go across the field about 40 yards up above us, I said, he's going to come right back down. And that's when he tried to move just a little bit to try to get around when he come down on that right side, and that's what flushed him.
Neat.
But I could see him, and he couldn't see him. That was a difference in about 6 inches. I was up a little bit higher up in behind him on that little ridge in there.
So Marvin, when he was telling you that it's 30 yards out at 1 o'clock, what were you thinking at the moment?
Well, I was thinking, I wish I could see, but I was looking hard. I just didn't see him, and I was thinking, well, and I know this went through my mind. I'm like, I know I've got to really not move, but if it comes down to my right, I said, I'm not going to be able to move for sure. I was like, well, maybe I can move just a little bit, just so I could swing the shotgun around. I thought with the ghillie suit and all that, I might be okay, but of course I wasn't.
So what was the feeling like when you seen the bird fly overhead?
Well, although I didn't get a shot, I still was excited to see that turkey fly overhead. Yeah, it was exciting to hear the turkey and to see it. Finally see it, because I didn't see it till it got there, but still.
So if you had to give a new hunter a piece of advice, what would that one piece of advice be?
Well, if you are in a good spot, not to overcall. Because like I said, Steve just called a little bit like, let's say 7 o'clock, and about an hour later, he did the same thing, 5, 6 of the hen call, and then about an hour. And so that seemed to be one of the pieces of advice I would give. And if you could get there earlier and kind of have a good lay of the land, and maybe try to have a decoy, it would be good to have a decoy and try to go from there. I mean, because if we'd had a decoy and maybe been like Steve said, been able to kind of look at the lay of the land the night before, that could have made a difference. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's for me, the lay of the land, knowing where they're going to come, which we did pretty good, I thought. And if you think about moving, you might want to think twice. I mean, even though it's if it's on your right hand side and you're a right-handed shooter, you still might want to wait.
Yeah.
Because maybe it would have come out to where you could have got a shot.
Okay. So Steve, you being the mentor, if you had to give a new hunter a piece of advice, what would it be?
Well, the big thing, don't overcall. That's what a lot of the people I talk to in the shop and everything, when I hear them, they call and call and call and call and everything. And that's where I think a lot of the turkey hunters, especially the beginners, they overcall. And it's just like a gobbler. When you overcall, after he gobbles and you call and he gobbles and you call, what happens after that is he ain't coming to you. He wants her to come to him, so he's not coming to her. So that's what I hear a lot of people that come in my shop and everything. We talk turkey talk and everything. That's what I mostly hear from other turkey hunters come in. They overcall. And that's something, you don't have to do. Just like when we called that morning and everything, we average about one call every hour and everything because they can hear you. We heard turkeys earlier that morning, a couple hours before this one come in, way, way, way off and everything. So calling too much, they just kind of pinpoint exactly where you're at. So, I recommend, maybe call once an hour or something like that. It's plenty of time to get him to come in. If you call too much, he's not coming at all.
Gotcha. Jason, you want to give anything in there?
No, I mean, I think, I think we gave everybody during this virtual series everything that we had. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Other than hands-on experience, and we tried to do that, during that hunt. But Steve's exactly right. My thing for new hunters is just go hunting. I say that all the time, because if you think I'm not good enough,
Get
or
you
I
here in a
don't
minute.
have the right equipment, or I don't have a good place to go or whatever, then you'll never end up going. And I've learned most of my hunting stuff by making mistakes, by calling too much, by moving too much, by, you name it, I've done it wrong. But that's how you learn. So, my advice to a new hunter is don't overthink it. Go and do it and enjoy the outdoors, and you will learn by doing. So that's my advice.
Okay. And I agree with all of that. The one thing nobody talked about is still. You got to be extremely still. So we only have a few more minutes, but I want to give Steve some time. Why don't you do a bit of advertisement for yourself? Explain to everybody who you are and where you're at. Maybe something.
Yeah, well, my name's Steve Rogers. I'm actually owner of Steve's Archery and Guns in Shenandoah, Virginia. It's been in business 42 years. A lot of people call me a little Cabela's when they come in here because I got a little bit of everything and all. I'm an avid hunter and everything. I try to sell the good stuff to the people. I don't try to push anything on anybody. I try to help people. I know how their pocketbooks are, so I don't try to drain the pocketbook. I try to give them the best bang for the dollar and everything. Sometimes I do stuff, especially on bows, that I don't charge for just to be able to help them enjoy the sport and being outdoors.
Yeah, so I'll attest to that. If you can't find it at Steve's place, they haven't decided to make it yet. We make that joke all the time. But then Steve's also got a full archery shop. Okay. He'll sell you a bow, get it set up for you. He'll repair your bows. He's got a place to you can shoot it and try it out beforehand. He's got a full line of firearms. Okay. And then all the accessories that you'd probably ever want, to include clothing. So I would encourage you guys to if you want to go visit someplace, go visit Steve's Archery and Guns there in Shenandoah, Virginia.
Amen. Amen.
So I think we'll call it there. So we'll say our taglines here. So get out in the outdoors, have some fun, Jason.
Keep it simple. Go hunting.
Hello.
Okay. So thank you all
Hey,
for
can
helping.
you hold on just a second? Okay.
You can't.
That is a true businessman right there, Steve
Yeah.
Rogers.
You're
Yeah.
seeing Steve. He's got customer service down. So
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you, everybody. Thank you, Marvin. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate
Enjoyed it.
time
Enjoyed
out
it, guys.
and your
Thanks,
vacation. And we'll talk to y'all later.
thanks for inviting me to participate. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Marvin. Appreciate it, buddy.
All right.
Good luck to you later, Marvin, when you get out again.
All right. All right, all to you, buddy.